What is good, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to an all-new episode of TAETRO Talks. Thank you for hanging with me today. If you don't know, we are here every Tuesday, either doing interviews with cool people from the industry, which we're actually lining some up for the next few weeks, or we have the best guest of them all, as I can say. It's you all from the community. So we do these call-in shows where I'll rant about a little topic at the beginning. You can probably tell what today's topic is from the title of the stream. And then you have the opportunity to call in and discuss either the topic at hand, maybe it will spark some thoughts in your mind, or anything else related to the philosophical, that side of being a creative home studio music producer. Not looking to do tech support, not looking to talk about like this plugin, that plugin. What about your mindset? What about like how you approach your day-to-day life as an artist? So hello, thank you all for joining me. I see a bunch of you in the chat already. We have X Scare, hello, thank you for being here. SDK, Cable Man, shout out to all my members with the cool badges next to their names. Your badges are evolving, and that's what I like to see. Beta X, Ray Calvin, Kotha, hello. Cable Man, did I say Cable Man? Yarn Chic, hello. Tyler, welcome. Bro, I posted my favorite beat on TikTok and promoted it and got like 30 hateful comments. MFers will always hate to see you win. Yes, we'll get into that today, Tyler. Rashane, hello. Is that Kevin Tetralt? Interesting name. Lisa P, Sarah Roboski, hello. Peanut Butter, Amelia S, James Murley, Philip Sheard, Gems for me too, hello. Hey, love you so much, Awesome Sauce, thanks. Hunty says, where is Pokey? You'll be able to find him before I can. Uric, Muska, The Counselor, Groovius Maximus, Femboy Down South, what's good? Is it Fern or Fen? I think it's Fem. James, what's good? And over in the 343 Labs chat, Jeremy Geo, because of course I should say we do this show in collaboration with 343 Labs, which is an electronic music school based in New York, Berlin, and online. So if you want to take a cool course in mixing and mastering, Ableton Live, synthesis and sound design, amazing instructors over there, very well-known musicians who spent a lot of time in the music industry, either releasing music, they're currently releasing music, former touring musicians, huge techno legends on that squad over there, Ableton-Certified trainers, 343labs.com to check that out. We've gotten, actually this whole week, programming on 343labs.com, 343 Labs YouTube channel, I should say, youtube.com/343labs, and we're able to accept some tracks for feedback. So if you're not in the 343 Labs Discord, you should totally get in on it. If some of you are in on it and you want to share the link in the chat, that would be helpful. But get in on it because Justin Beck, Beatport charting producer, is going to be giving feedback on stream tomorrow and for another Wednesday later this month as well. So if you're looking for feedback on a track that's very close to done, now is the time to get it. Not only Ableton, Femboy Down South, also like Logic, and I believe potentially starting an FL Studio course, but there's also like sound design and synthesis, which is universal to all DAWs. As I said, today's a call-in show, and I'm going to post the call-in link right now in the chat and pin it to the top of the chat. Don't be shy, join us. Let me pin that. Oh, look who's in the chat, the mod himself. I'm pinning that call-in link to the top, and you can use that link to join in on Zoom, but don't worry, when you click that link, you're put into a waiting room. It's not like you're immediately in on the stream. There is some time where I'll let people in one by one as they join. And it's just audio, it's not video. So if you feel a little bit shy, that can help you as well. Oh, Joseph is eating Chinese food with his mom and sister. Well, hello, Joe's mom and sister. Spam the Joe emote in chat so that his mom and sister can see it, please, members. Which, by the way, if everybody sees Joseph McCaffrey's badge, his badge is clearly so far advanced. Can't wait till the rest of you have it. Draftman says, damn, I can't join. Why not, Draftman? All right, I see the calls coming in, which I'm excited for. I wanted to tell you all that I got this cool new thing. Shout out to Blackhead Studio. They hooked me up with this cool handcuff. This is not a sponsorship, but they did send it to me. I think it's pretty dope. They do my like snake earring as well that a lot of people see in my Instagram photos. And guess what? I am back to painting. I want to show you all my latest painting. I did the Northern Lights, wintry Northern Lights scene. Let me show this off if I can find it. Check it out. I really like doing trees. I very much enjoy doing trees. It's very wintry. I enjoy doing the splatter. This did not come out as good as the teacher's example, but I think it came out okay. It's really only using 2 colors. But yes, I've been having a great time doing different paintings. See, I like doing trees because I really figured out how to do them. This one's better. Yes, but that's my hobby at the moment. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a video that's going to come out either on Friday or on Monday. But I just finished the new music theory video. So if some of you have been waiting for the next music theory video, the next like in that series, it's coming out. I finished filming it and everything. And that will have a Skillshare sponsor in it. So please stay tuned for that. One more thing before we get into the calls. Don't forget, click the link at the top to call in, get in the waiting room because we're not going to go as long, and if I can't get to your call, it's not my fault. The last thing I want to say before we get into calls is just like, let's just get rid of that background music, is Thursday's stream is going to be a sponsored stream. I've got a new audio interface, a new MIDI keyboard, and a new little instrument to show off that a company sent me, and they wanted to sponsor a stream. So Thursday's stream will be very exciting. That will be at 12 p.m. PST. So please join me for that and check out some new gear. And there'll also be some cool discount codes in the chat. And it's always good when you all show up to the sponsored streams because it tells the brands, yes, this is worth sponsoring. Yep. I'm ready for the theory vid. Remember, if you got Skillshare, you can get Ableton Standard for $269. I didn't know that. That's interesting. But also, the new music theory video will, of course, be a Skillshare sponsorship as well. So if you need a Skillshare free month, that will be coming your way. Okay, that's enough chatting and just talking. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you. Why don't we get into the calls? I'm going to post that link one more time. And let's talk to some people. Maybe after you all hear some calls, you will... Oh, no, I forgot to do my rant, like what this is about today. So if you're in the waiting room, peace and love, thank you. I will get to your call. Please stay patient. I want to talk about haters and how you can thrive off negativity and haters today. Because, interestingly, and somebody else pointed this at the top of the chat that I read, the more exposure you get, the more people that have eyes on your work, it's just like a numbers game. The more chances are that you will see more negative attention as well as positive attention. I'm probably not going to show my recent bout with negativity, but actually last week on this stream, we had like these spammers just like bomb the chat after a while towards the end. And that was lame. But then I did this reel, which I guess I can show it. This will be like a little more interesting, I guess. I'll show it. I can't hear it though. Where I was, just making a beat for Kanye. Or, I was doing a Kanye style like Yeezus beat. And this reel, actually, like it did pretty well when I first posted it, but then in the past couple days, it got probably like 20,000 more views or something like that. And for the most part, a lot of people came out to show support, which I really appreciate. And that's actually what you see for the most part here. But then other people... Okay, this is the beat. You guys get it. All right, you guys have probably already seen it. Interestingly enough, it's filmed on my phone, right? Like, so it's not like audio, like quality or anything. So people critiquing like the mix, I'm just like, okay, whatever. You're just here to like say something. But now I'm actually struggling to find the hate. There's like one thread of like annoying hate comments, but you can see that Yeah, so somebody just says like no. Like you don't want to be this person, obviously. But these people are just out there, you know? Which is fine. It's fine to have like a opinion. Like snare tone seems off, yeah. Probably because I recorded on my iPhone. Just saying. You know, I did put fire or thumbs down. This person put thumbs down, so I respect that. It's not that serious. And then like I don't know. I don't even want to put it on blast because I don't want to like weaponize the audience. Oh yeah, Kanye would not hop on this ever in his life. Shit sounds like nothing like a Ye instrumental. I don't think they've ever listened to Yeezus. All right, so the whole thing is, oh yeah, this disrespectful to Kanye. This has 25 likes. It's so bad that it's disrespectful to Kanye. Garbage. This is the main thread. Trash. Just saying no. Like, and this is also like, this is like a respectful like thing. Like, I don't really like it, but it's whatever. It's not quite the Kanye feel, but it's all right. Appreciate that. So disrespectful, putting on-site at the beginning. So you get the picture. Basically, with a lot of attention comes like haters, whatever. And it's whatever. Because, as you can see, like it took me a while to find those comments anyway, which when it shows you on the phone, it shows you them in a different order, I think. But why do those comments stick out so much to us in our head? I find this all the time on YouTube, on Instagram, whatever. I'll get 5 positive comments and 1 negative comment. For some reason, the one I can remember verbatim is the negative comment. And that's just like a weird mental thing. I don't have a solution for that. I just see that as a reality. It's just how it is. And I try. It's mental work every day to not dwell on that. So it also comes down to like if somebody is just straight up rude, sometimes I'll just delete the comments. Because you're coming into my house, right? Like imagine going to somebody's house and being like, wow, your furniture's all ugly. Like you wouldn't invite that person to your house. And even if you met this person outside of your house in the first place, if they were like rude to a waiter, or if they were just like rude to people around them, or if they looked at you and didn't and said something negative about how you look or how you sound or whatever, you probably wouldn't invite them over in the first place. So my channel, my social media, like this is my house. And I get to say who's welcome and who's not welcome in my house. That doesn't mean that there's not room for critical opinions either. We have to be open to critical opinions. But people often think that they're being critical, but they're actually just being rude. And you can be critical without being rude, of course. Can't let it get you down, says Drummy Geo. Yes, I agree. If you look at their profile, they don't express themselves at all. That's the other thing. You look at these people's profiles, and I think it would probably mean more critically if like somebody like a Timbaland, like somebody like a huge producer commented and said, nah, this is bad. I would take that actually as critical feedback because they're coming from a place of experience. But oftentimes what happens is I think what it is it's mostly these folks that want to achieve something in music, maybe something similar to what I'm doing or something similar to what their hero producers are doing. And they haven't achieved it yet, and they feel a little bit down on themselves where they are in their journey. So they see like a reel like that got a fair amount of attention, or they go to my profile and they see that I kind of have something going on with music, and what they see it as is like a reflection of what they are lacking. They don't have as many followers, they don't have as good of content, like that's in their head. And the initial reaction to that is to like go on the defensive and be negative and come at them and say, well, that's not mine, so that's trash, basically. I think that is mostly what it boils down to. They want to achieve something for themselves. However, they're struggling to do it, so they want to bring down other people. But the odd thing is, like one thing to put in your mindset is there's a couple of things. There's people telling me like, no, that's not even a Kanye beat. Like Kanye would never. I'm basing what I made that off of, and this comes down to you and your experience, right? If you're trying to make doesn't matter if you're trying to make a Kanye beat or a Blackpink type beat or a J. Cole type beat, right? You're probably coming at that with a lot of experience. And I've been listening to Kanye since probably I was a freshman in high school, like since graduation, the album Graduation. And through the years, like just been a huge Kanye fan. Yeezus, one of my favorite albums. So that was based off Yeezus. I'm coming with a ton of experience, not only in music production, but experience and understanding of the artist from a music production perspective. So I, off the bat, know that those people are wrong. Now, if every single comment said this sounds nothing like a Kanye beat, I would check myself on that. But seeing that only like 5 out of maybe 100 comments say that, I know that they're wrong and acting from not a place of objectivity, or they just don't have the expertise, right? That I have. And I'm not saying I have expertise. I'm just saying they hate to see me winning. That's what I say. Easy. Exactly. They hate to see you winning. And we all play a part in this, because if we can be a better community that is supportive of each other and we don't see other people's successes as our failures, this whole community gets to grow beyond what it already is, right? Rising tide raises all boats. So if my channel does well, if somebody else's channel does well, you know, all the people I've had on this show, I've had like Neon Vine, Sanjay C, Rachel K. Collier, all those artists. If I constantly compared myself to them and said, oh, well, they have this kind of content and it's better than me, so I'm lacking something, then I would just be in a negative mindset all day. If I see them out there winning with their content, with their deals, with their music, I'm stoked, because that means the whole YouTuber music community is just like growing and growing and growing. Their wins, I feel like, are not necessarily my wins, but they're a win for us all. So there we are. That's how I kind of take it. And we just want to be careful as a community to always lift each other up, because when I come across something, and even if I just don't like it, if I don't care for a type of music or a type of video or a type of piece of content on social media, I just keep scrolling. I don't know about you all, but I don't take the time to write something rude or even like respectfully critical. Like if I had a moment to write something critical, I would write something thoughtful. Most of the time, I just don't write anything if I don't like something. And that's the beauty of social media. You can follow who you follow. You can skip to the next video. You can unfollow people if you want. But you all will see this in your life, maybe amongst even your friends or family. You'll have people that don't believe in you and your music and your journey, and there's no reason for it. And you need to just stay steady. People will support you when you're trying to do the mundane, achievable things that they're trying to do. If you got a friend that works at McDonald's and you're trying to work at McDonald's as well, they're going to support you in that. If you got a friend that works at McDonald's and you say, nah, I'm going to go be like a music producer, they're going to be like, that's never going to work out. Not everybody will be like that, but they might view where they are in life in relation to your goals and your aspirations and not feel good about themselves and try to bring you down. I'm not saying anything bad about people who work at McDonald's, by the way. It's just an example. So you have to always think with that mindset. Take critical feedback when it comes. If there's a mass of critical feedback that's all kind of similar, you really have to take a look at that. But if it's a minority, if it's a loud minority, stay the course, stay steady. You know what you're doing. Trust that you know what you're doing sometimes. Know when you don't know what you're doing and know when you know what you're doing. I have no problem saying I know what I'm doing when I'm making a beat that kind of combines all these different Kanye styles. I have no issue saying that. So when you come to me and say it doesn't sound at all like Kanye, I know you have no idea what you're talking about. Very confident in that. Very, very confident in that. Do I have the hubris to say this is absolutely without a doubt a Kanye beat that if Kanye heard it, he would love it and jump on it? No, of course not. But I'm saying with all the information I have, that is a combination of all the different sounds. Okay, now let's get into the calls. Let's get Ryan in here, the first caller of the day. Again, make sure you call in. Here's the link. We're filling up the waiting room, so get in ASAP. Make sure you set your audio input device properly. I'll ask you to unmute. Oops, push that button twice, I think. And then make sure you pause the stream when you call in, or else we will have a double audio situation. Samuel Messiah says, who is that one dislike? Exactly, bro, exactly. Hello, Ryan, hello, Ryan, how are you?
Hey.
Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's weird.
It's weird, yeah. What did you want to talk about today, though? I'm happy you did call in. It can be a little odd.
Yeah. Well, I just want to talk about, like, I'm not majorly, into, like, I produce, but, like, let's say every day, like, I make, like, 50 or so small beats, like, 1 minute and, like, 15 seconds beats, and I just make, like, a lot.
That's
Mainly
cool.
lo-fi.
Awesome.
So when I make those, I don't, make those. But my point is that people don't, get the fact that you are doing this because you like it, and it's not like like but my goal is I'm still 15 and I want to be a music producer one day, but I
Sure.
also want to have a degree in literature. I want to have a degree in English because I like that. And when I say those things to my mother, she always thinks like, ah, okay, you're not gonna do this. You're gonna do it. You're gonna find a job. You're gonna do human resources. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. And my family is built off of the maths, science type, the geeks.
Yeah.
And I also have that. I get island rankings, but I don't want to be the geek because I remember like I've always been bullied about being the smart guy in the class,
Sure.
and yet people take my advantage of me. And like after all those, like my anxiety, my depression, mental trauma, all of those things just started to get worse. And like right now, dude, I'm just shaking a lot
Well,
because like
no worries on that, and I hope that just being on the call, like you'll feel like more comfortable calling in again in the future and just talking about these things too, because I think it's really powerful what you said. Because I'm here talking about haters, I'm talking about random people on the internet, and a lot of people have what you have, and they actually don't even have supportive families, and they have people that tell them they can't do certain things, and it's the people closest to them, the people that they love the most, and that can be really, really hard. But at the end of the day, it's you in your life, in your world that you're building for yourself. And you really do have to build it for yourself. And it is hard because when you're young, your parents kind of control a lot of your life because you live under their roof, and there's not a lot of options there. But you have to continue to build your pathway to independence, and that probably starts for you with being financially independent. So you have to start building towards that as much as possible so you can become financially independent and you're not dependent on people that are not in support of your dreams and your hopes for yourself. And I completely respect what you said about I love literature, I love art, I love music. Like I do this because I love it and that's what I want to do, and I'm not super into the maths and sciences. That's just how some of us are born. That's like just how it goes. Some of us are born with predisposition to certain things, or our upbringing or what we encounter in life draws us to those certain things. And there's nothing we can change about that. And what you said about depression, anxiety, a lot of that comes from us trying to fight those inner urges to like explore art, to explore music, or explore the things that we love because we're trying to fit a little bit differently into somebody else's kind of image of what we should be. So I know that it's hard. I think the first step for you is work your way. You're 15, so you have a long way ahead of you and you have time, but you have to work your way to first financial independence and continue your art pursuit, your pursuit of all the things that you do love. Play their game a little bit because they, at the end of the day, they are your parents. They are going to support you in some way, even if that is just financially. Play the game, but you're going to have to work twice as hard because you're going to have to work hard to do what they expect you to do while you are not independent, and you're going to have to work hard at doing what you want to do and what you know to be like who you are and your identity. You can do that. You can 100% do that. People do that all the time. Every day, people come from non-supportive families and go on to have great careers. But you're at a disadvantage, but that doesn't mean you can't work twice as hard and get it done. But if you go from the mindset that I just have to do this and I just have to work twice as hard, instead of falling back into it and saying, well, I can't do this because X, Y, and Z, no, you pump yourself up. You say, no, I can do this. I just have to work twice as hard. And it's going to be harder for me than somebody else, but this is my situation in my life and I can take control of it and I can do it, even if it is working harder than the average person would have to.
like for real, I only got that inspiration to keep on doing it from like guys like you, lifestyle did it, Simon Civil, like all you guys just do it. I mean, I remember I watched Simon Savita when he was just around 9 subscribers, and then he just blew up like 15K and something, and I was like, wow. And he did that in less than half a year, and I was so amazed by it. And then look at you, like I've been starting to watch you for like 2 months now, but like you are like those people who like within this community and just like come on, we can do it, like don't give up, do what you love, like even though that's not what your main content is, that's like what I see and
Right.
that's what I like.
And I do try to have that be a part of a little bit of everything, whether it's just giving you the tools to make that easier for you, teaching you something, or it's explicitly saying it and doing streams like this. So that is the amazing thing about the internet too. Like you might be surrounded in real life with people who don't support you, people who don't believe in your dreams, but the internet, you go on the internet and you can find hundreds of thousands of people that support you in your dreams and want to support you as an artist. So you might have to find a digital community if your IRL community isn't quite as supportive as you had hoped. But nonetheless, you can still do it. You just have to put the work in. We're all running this race, but we're not starting at the same place, right? Like I have supportive parents, so I'm starting at a lot further ahead on the track than you are, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean you can't train to run as fast as me and catch up to me and run even faster if you wanted to, you know? It's just a matter of like, that's how life is. Like we can be mad at it, or we can say like, okay, this is my situation and this is how I have to get to where I want to go. And you can do that for sure. I appreciate you calling in, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a good one. Yeah, that's a good first call because I wanted to touch on that in my initial sort of rant. It's like, man, it's hard out there for everybody who doesn't have supportive parents, supportive families. It really is like this idea of race. I mean, our society is like that, right? Some people are born into massive wealth, born millionaires, and they start way far ahead than somebody else. If you have access to better resources, access to better schools, access to more time to pursue the things that you love, versus someone who's not born into extreme wealth, they have to spend their time getting a paycheck, figuring out where they're going to sleep tonight, all these things. So we could be born on the same day at the same time, and we're starting at different places on the track. That being said, people find ways, and it's not fair at all. But you have to take in what is your current situation. How can you work hard? How can you use resources that are available to you to catch up and even surpass? Because actually what that kind of coming from a deficit does for you, it puts a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, and it also gives you like this meaning. You work super hard for it. And if somebody doesn't work super hard for it because they came from a place of extreme wealth or means, they don't have that same. If they lose, they have a safety net to catch them. If somebody that doesn't come from means doesn't have a safety net or work so hard to get somewhere, it's going to mean a lot more to them. So in some ways, that's an advantage, but it does mean you have to work so hard. But it can be done. It's a struggle, I promise. Chat, I'm going to check in with you in a moment, but I just want to keep going with the calls for now. So please, if you haven't joined the waiting room yet, we have a couple spots. Join on Zoom. Is that my friend, Dan?
Yes.
What's up, Dan? How are you?
Good.
Dude, long time no see. How are things going with school and all that?
Good. School actually starts in about a week, actually.
Awesome.
So summer's about to end.
Is that a little sad?
Yeah, but as I think you can tell, I have moved into a new house, meaning a new studio.
It's cool. I see guitars behind you. You got your mic on like a boom stand. That's so dope.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It has been a long time. How has your music production journey been in between the times that we've talked?
Good. I've progressed a lot. I've learned a lot from your videos, and I've been making a lot of music, and I feel like I've like progressed in a way that like my music like gets better as I make more, and like every time I make like a new song, I feel like I did something different that made it better than my last one.
Fantastic. That is what I like to hear, because that's what I say all the time, right? You just got to keep making and making stuff. And sometimes it doesn't feel real when you're in it and you're making tunes and you want to get better. But every tune that you make, I showed off my paintings at the beginning of the stream. Every time I do a painting, I learn something new. It gets a little bit better. And I look back on some of my first paintings now and I go, wow, I've gotten better. So that literally is the journey for, I think, every type of art form.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing to hear. Are you excited about this new space? You've got like this, is it like a new source of inspiration?
Yes, because like my last home studio, like it was like just a small desk with my laptop and a little space for my launch key.
Yeah.
But now I got an entire room. It's huge. So It's I'm still like gonna get more stuff, add to it, but um it's I think it might help a lot with like my creative process, that like now I have like more space to think about my music.
Totally. Can you remind the audience how old you are?
I'm 12. I'm gonna be
12.
13 soon.
Amazing. When do you turn
Soon gonna be
13?
13. December. So not that soon, but
I think like you're at such a huge advantage. I talk about this every time a young caller calls in, but like you're at a big advantage when you start super young. Not to say that people can't start later in life, but you're already thinking about like your process and your workflow and how the space affects it.
Mhm.
Like these are things like I did not think about until I was much older. So I think that it's great. And I
Mhm.
think if you're starting here at 12, your trajectory beyond that is like crazy, mind blowing.
Mhm.
That's awesome, my friend. Well, I hope you find a balance in when school starts again, and with your music. And I hope you can bring some of that, combine those worlds if you can, but also just make sure you make the time for everything so you can be successful in everything. And don't forget about the stuff we talked about. If people don't seem
Mhm.
supportive, people in school, middle school, high school, whatever, they can
Yeah.
be like, oh, you're trying to do that. And they can make you feel like it's lame, but you know that it's lame. And you have a whole community online here to support you. So always keep doing what you have been doing. Stay the course. Don't let anybody bring you down, and keep going. Don't stop.
Mhm.
Thanks,
Yeah.
my friend.
I also called in because I had a question.
Yes, let's answer the question.
So, so I'm thinking of, because I've made a lot of music in the past year. Because I actually started making music last year, was when I actually started making my first beats.
Right.
So it's like my first anniversary, I guess, of starting making music. And so I was thinking that I haven't released any of my music. Like I put some of my music in a few like I've done a few like remix contests and stuff, and like I've shared it with my friends and family, but I haven't released any of my music yet. But like, and I was thinking that maybe once I turn 13 in like December, I was thinking maybe I could start releasing my music, but I'm not sure like when, like I'm sure to start releasing my music.
I think you can start releasing as soon as you feel comfortable. And if you want to set that threshold of 13 and say like, okay, once I turn 13, like I'm going to keep learning, but I'm also going to start putting stuff out. I think that's fine. It's a little bit of like an arbitrary thing because you could start releasing music today and see people come and support you. But I do think like when you are young, you do have that luxury of like, okay, I'm young, I'm learning, I understand that self-awareness is important, and I'm just gonna put it out. Like from the day I turn 13, I'm gonna start putting music out. Set yourself a goal, whether you're gonna release one track a month or one track every 3 months, whatever you feel comfortable with, and just be consistent with it because every time you release a new track, old tracks are going to get pushed down, and like you already said, like every time you make a track you learn something new and it gets a little bit better. Well, if that's the case, every track you put out is going to be better than the last one. And it is a news feed. It's like Instagram. When you post a new photo, the old photo gets pushed down. But then if you think about that far out, after you've posted 10 tracks, people are going to see your 10th track at the top, and your first track is going to be way at the bottom. And obviously your 10th track is going to be way better than that first track you posted. So for me, it's like ASAP. As soon as you feel comfortable with your music, as soon as your music is something that you're proud of course, there's always going to be room for improvement. And the music you make right now versus the music you make 10 years from now, 10 years from now, just play out the idea, right? In 10 years from now, it's going to be 10 times better than what it is now because you'll have all that knowledge. But you're not going to
Yeah.
wait 10 years to put out music. So just start putting stuff out. And as you grow, maybe when you turn 14, you look back and say, okay, some of these songs are kind of sus. I'll take some of them off and just start putting all new stuff, or just leave some of the newer stuff up. Or maybe you'll be like, nah, I'll keep it all up. It's up to you. It's totally up to you. You start putting it out ASAP. You start sharing it with people. Um, do what you got to do. There's no rules. I think you just be mindful of your progression and your skills, and actually posting is a good way to track the progression of your skills.
Yeah. Another just quick question
Sure.
to just make this quick before we end, is that like about like releasing, like let's say I start releasing music, like how, like when you start releasing music, how did you like start like the branding, or like how did you like make people like want to like listen to your music or like want to come to your strings and stuff?
Well, I think you know the answer to this behind like TAETRO is like I started a YouTube channel, right? I started posting my performances. People started asking me questions, so I started answering those questions, right? So it's two things. You're either entertaining people or you're educating people. My performances were sort of entertainment, and then my tutorials were education. But that is to say, like when I was like just a little bit older than you are now, like I was making music under a totally different name. I was living back in the day of MySpace. MySpace was back then like what TikTok is today. And I was doing like singer-songwriter stuff. So I was taking cool photos. I was posting music on MySpace, sharing it that way, playing shows, getting people excited. Back in the day on MySpace, you know, people could take a song from a musician's profile and put it as their song on their profile. And that was a big part of that culture. So that helped me kind of spread the word that way. And funny things like people would change their name on MySpace to like match my artist name on MySpace. So like fun things like that, getting people involved, building, it always comes down to building a community. Doesn't matter the platform. If it's TikTok, YouTube, MySpace, if people feel like they're a part of something, you welcome people in, you make them feel good, you help them in some way, and helping them can mean entertainment or education. I think there's many movies that I've watched that have helped me. They've made me feel something, or they've entertained me for 2 hours, and and if you meet somebody who has also seen that movie and feels that same way, you feel a connection to that person. That can be the same way with your content. People come together to watch you and your stuff. They'll feel connected, but build that community. It's all about community. Start putting your tracks out. People will be there to support you. But what's the next step? There's a million people uploading to SoundCloud. There's a person uploading a song to Spotify every second, pretty much every single day. So what's going to make you different? Well, community is one of the biggest differentiators, or at least making your stuff super interesting, whether that's entertaining or educational. That's a lot to think about, of course. Take your time. The same way you're taking your time with your music and getting your skills up and you haven't released yet and you're going to start releasing, take some time, get used to releasing music, get used to making tracks and putting them out. And then next step for you is, how do I build that community? How do I make content around it that draws people to it? You see it every day. If you use TikTok, or if you play Roblox, or if you like do whatever it is, music, people talk about music. People are like, oh, I want to show you this new artist, or maybe there's music in a game. You know, Ariana Grande just announced she's doing a concert in Fortnite, and obviously like that's super high level, but you see how all these worlds are getting connected, and there's ways you can connect the things that you love. People are going to come to Dan because Dan does, you know, what are some things you like to do that are not music? Some things that you like.
Soccer, more music.
Soccer, music, like what kind of movies or
my friends.
Yeah, what do you and your friends do? You guys play video games or something? Star Wars.
Yeah.
One more
talk
thing.
on Discord. I love Star Wars.
Discord, like
Legend of Zelda. I love
Legends of
the video game
Zelda.
franchise,
Okay,
Legend of
so
Zelda.
the reason people come to Dan is not just because Dan makes music, because everybody and their mom on the internet makes music. They come to Dan because they like Dan's music, but Dan also likes soccer, Zelda, and Star Wars. And hey, I actually like all three of those things too. So like that, you see how like that, you start building connections that way. They come to you because they like you rather than they just like your music. Because if you think of any artist that you really, really like, if you just heard their music and had no idea about their identity, you might still listen to them. But what has us buying into artists more and more is that we like who they are. Like we for some reason are attracted to their lifestyle or the things that they do. We think they're interesting people. So that's what all of us artists need to build for ourselves. And that's a monumental task. But you can for sure do it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot, but it's a slow process, as you know, and it's like not just a slow process, but you just have to be patient, and it will come, and not give up.
Mm-hmm. Build a community by steps and don't try to rush it.
Exactly. I have that video about like making money. Everybody rushes to make money. The thing you need to forget about at the beginning is making money, right? You got to think about building community and building an audience first.
And the reason I make music isn't because I want to become famous or because I want to make tons of money and become a millionaire. I do money because I mean I make music because I love making music. It's something I enjoy and it's really fun to me. And at this point, I and like I probably will never like really care about the money or the fame. It's just that I really love making music and it's something I really enjoy.
And that automatically puts you at an advantage for all the people who are just out there for the money. You know, you're already at an advantage because you're doing it for the love of it. Thank you so much for calling in, Dan. I got to get to the other calls, but I really appreciate hearing from you. And I hope you're, you know, in a week from now when you go back to school, I hope that goes well. And please check in with us later on when you are on a school vacation or you just have a little bit more time.
Yep, whenever I can, I'll try.
All right. Thanks so much, man. Have a good one.
Okay. Bye.
Yes, haven't heard from Dan in a while, so that was a good one. Thank you, everybody who's been patiently waiting in the waiting room. I really appreciate it. Hello, everybody here in chat. I just want to say a quick hello. I know somebody asked, can you show off the paintings? I'll show off the paintings again at the end. So if you all want to stick around and see the paintings, I think that was Opal Rider. Yeah, I can show you some of the paintings at the end. I showed one off at the beginning. But as we get to the end, if you all want to hang out, I'll show a few more of the paintings. Music producer Ghost, I have a lot to talk about, but unfortunately I cannot because I'm having some issues. Is it possible to give ID and password? I will try joining from my phone. No. If you call into Zoom, you should be fine. All right. Let's try to take these in the order that they arrived. So let me jump in. Yo, what's up, Brendan? Thank you for being here. The Great Cat says, MySpace was such a creative haven in middle school, LOL. MySpace was definitely a place and time kind of thing, but you know, every generation has it, and TikTok is a great thing too. I think the social media we have now is a lot more functional and a lot better for artists than MySpace was, but MySpace was definitely a cool spot to be in. I'm bringing in Cat Gray, and then Dio is after that. Stay tuned, stay tuned. Feel free to jump in. We might have time to take a few more calls than who are in the waiting room, so feel free to join. Hi, Kat. I see you, but I don't hear you. Oh, now I'm going to hear you. I think. Hi, Kat. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you so much for calling in. This is your first time calling into the show?
Yes, it's my first time calling in. Thanks for creating this virtual space for us to connect. It's awesome to really bask in what you were saying earlier. Like you really created that essence of the third between yourself and people who are drawn to your creative energy. And it's been just a pleasure to bask in that the past month or so since I found you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. I just have a quick question. Not to date myself, but I am like older. I'm 29, and
me too.
While I've experimented. Oh, cool. What's up? 91?
92.
Okay. Well, I got you then.
Close enough.
Yeah, right there. I've experimented with music and been fascinated by it my whole life, but this is my first purview into actually producing it. Like day 2 of Ableton, my mini lab, MK2 just got here last week. And thank you for all of your insight because you helped me make that decision.
Awesome.
But just a quick question, knowing that it is such an oversaturated space, I wanted to know your candid advice. If my goal is actually really to delve into like natural production of sound through field recordings for sound design purposes that would go into like immersive designs that also have like visual, generative flows and whatnot. So I wanted to ask if you have any just candid tips from seeing so many journeys of producers, if you would recommend, like anywhere any yeses or no, sorry, that's my puppy.
That's okay.
Or any direction on how to kind of narrow my journey since it is such a wide, expansive space.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because what you described as like the thing that you want to do, that specific thing, is like pretty niche and pretty specific. And yes, it is a big oversaturated space right now. But as you've probably noticed in your own journey with learning electronic music, is like, okay, there's the folks who are like super nitty gritty on like mixing and stuff. And then there's people like me where I kind of like zoom out and do like more foundational stuff and talk about MIDI keyboards. Then there's the synth people. Like within this whole big oversaturated music thing and content world, there are these little niches and little places you can carve out for yourself. So I wouldn't worry too much about it being oversaturated. But also the other thing is like you and your perspective and who you are is inherently unique, and people will be drawn to it for reasons like similar to reasons I just talked about with Dan, who's like a kid, like, okay, he likes soccer, Star Wars, and Zelda. Like other people who like that, but also like music, will come to him. For you, it's like whatever you like, or it could even just be like how you look. Like I think about like how many people come to my channel and maybe either like or don't like me because of how I look. They look at me as a person and they say like, oh, I identify with this person. So for you, and I'll also say, as a woman in this space, like we need more voices, of course, more female voices in this space. Absolutely.
Yes.
So I think it is so important for you to do what you do just so other people can see you doing what you're doing. And so it's not just like another white dude with a beard like me, like out there doing it. I think that's insanely important. So that's the first thing. The other thing is like, really think about that niche that you just explained to me and try to find some people that are doing similar things. And if you can find people doing similar things, just examine their content, like what content does really well, what content doesn't do so well that you think is really cool. Because you might see people making content and be like, yeah, I want to do that. But that content might only get like, if that content only gets like something like 100 or 400 views or something, that probably won't be financially sustainable without something else attached to it, you know? So like you just have to kind of think of it that way, and just be realistic with like your expectations, and then what is the field doing? Like, what is everybody else doing? If you look around and you see everybody else is doing this, if there's somebody in that niche doing it and it's like going bonkers crazy, like they're getting 1 million views or whatever it is, whatever the high bar is, you know that that's your high bar too. Don't expect that you're going to surpass that. Aim to surpass it because it would be amazing if you did. But don't set like an unrealistic goal for yourself. Okay, the most successful person in this niche is doing X, so I know that I can achieve X if I follow like a similar path. You know that. And then you can maybe blast beyond that if you want to. And then it's also about like, I watch a lot of film, TV, and like art and fashion YouTube. I don't watch a lot of music YouTube. So a lot of things that I've incorporated into my channel and what I do, it's actually taken from other places. And that comes back to like you doing what you want to do, and you being who you are, uniquely you. Try to do that, because if something works in a completely different niche that hasn't been tried in your niche, if you're the first one to do that, then that might also give you a competitive edge too. But just capture as much as you can, share as much as you can with the community. If you are providing like true value, whether that is educational or entertainment, then like people are going to be drawn to you. And just consistency is key. Like if you make a video once a week for a month, but then you disappear for 3 months, all that momentum you built is probably like gone. But if you just don't stop, even if you get 10 views a video for the first month, next month you might get 20, the next month you might get 50, but like that growth doesn't happen unless you stay consistent. I've seen so many amazing content creators like start making content and then just disappear for a little while and then start making content again. And it's always harder for them to get back in rotation. But I've been doing this channel, like I don't have a single video I don't have 1 million views on a video. I've been doing this channel for 5 years. I have 150,000 subscribers that I'm very proud of. There are definitely people in this space that have way more views and way more subscribers than me, but I'm pretty content doing what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna be here, continue to do it, and I'm happy doing it. So like, that's another thing for you to think about too. Are you happy doing it? Is it like sustainable for you to do mentally as a person?
Awesome. Thank you so much for flexing your expertise, TAETRO. That was
Thanks.
amazing just to hear that all-encompassing, strategic and empathetic insight, especially around, finding those niches and, where the creators in that space, in that niche, and how are they serving the people in that community? Because I do hope that there is this, cross section, like this critical point for technology intermixing with what we understand about neuroscience and putting that into the design. So hoping to maybe find some pioneers. And to your point, it could be really cool to combine a few niches and see how I could deliver a packaged, content thesis outward. So thank you so much.
Also, because what you just talked about is super sciencey too. And science YouTube is crazy. I watch a few science channels just to because it's interesting. And if you can somehow combine these worlds and find your voice in that and be I can't think of a good example. I'm gonna be the unsolved mysteries of whatever of music production, that kind of juxtaposition. I'm not saying that's for you, but if you can find that weird juxtaposition, I'm gonna be the Animal Planet, but for Ableton Live users, or I'm gonna be the Ancient Aliens for FL Studio users, whatever that weird combination is. I think you can totally nail it in that space.
Love the idea of experimenting with these different dualities that could really bring forth some interesting surprises. And I'm huge into embodiment and fitness instruction and incorporating that into modular mixing. So I would love to be able to deliver that as a way for people to, enjoy just a mix or also have a workout that's sequenced to muscle movement and mind connection.
You nailed it.
We'll see.
You combine those things, you're gonna find a super unique audience, and I think it can do really well.
It'll be really impassioned. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for calling in. I hope you do it again in the future.
Talk to you soon. Have a great one.
I realize that people can't see me on Zoom. They can see me through here, but I still talk like it's there. Anyway, that was a super cool call. The thing about that is, I'll just add one thing onto that, is familiarity. If you can give, if you're a new creator, you are automatically unfamiliar. If you do something like teach how to make a trap beat in Ableton Live, that's familiar. So that's a very basic example. Hi, my name is a producer you've never heard of, and I'm going to teach you how to make a trap beat in Ableton Live. Okay, great. I might find that, and as I watch that, you, the unknown producer, become a little bit more familiar. Maybe you drop a little bit of a joke. Maybe you have a Blackpink stick in the background. Maybe I'm what's so unique about this person? I like those things. I'm going to tune in and watch another video. Then that's how that rabbit hole spirals. How can you give people something familiar as an unknown artist that kind of hooks them in and gets them to know you? So now suddenly you can be the familiar thing, and I can say, oh, here's how I create an ambient drone out of a rain field recording, something super niche that people aren't going to Google search, but you're the familiar part and you're showing them something unfamiliar. So see how that flips over time. Something to think about. All right, few more callers. Let's get Dio in here. A lot of good chat happening. I'm sorry I haven't been keeping up with the text chat, but hello, Dio. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. I'm not sure if you can see me as well, but
I cannot, but that's okay. We can do audio unless it's important to the call.
Okay. I could just turn on my video.
No.
Hey.
Hi, Dio. I can see you.
Great. I have a question. I've been watching you for a while now, and I actually started music pretty late in life in terms of actually producing, because before it was mainly focused on performing and singing and being in a band. And I was about your age when I just started production.
Nice.
Now I'm 36 and I've gotten to a pretty good level, and I actually got a lot of great feedback from a few famous artists, but that's pretty much where it stopped. So I have started releasing my tracks, and I mainly produce techno and techno-influenced electronic music.
Awesome.
So I just started it this year, and I thought, okay, well, these are the tracks that I'm proud of, and I'm just, going to put it out on Spotify and everywhere else. But my question is, I have a regular career, and I'm a video producer, and I work for a corporation. So which means I have a huge chunk of my daytime dedicated to that. So my productions are pretty much during weekends and at nights. And you're saying to actually have the audience and build a community, you need to probably start something else. In your case, it was YouTube channel. And I'm struggling to find ways to have my music listened to because I just don't have the time in my life to do that. But it's a great idea, and I've been thinking about it. However, on the other hand, I feel really frustrated, and I've thought about quitting music because it's just not going anywhere. What are your thoughts on how to overcome that feeling of being stuck and finding ways to keep going at it and making it work?
Sure. Well, let's kind of reframe that idea. Why do you make music? Why did you start making music? Why do you
I love
currently
it.
make music?
Well, I remember back in the day when I was in elementary school, I loved the way I expressed myself made people feel. So I guess the only reason why I do music is because through the way I express myself and my inner world, if people like it, that's the best reward.
Sure.
So when you don't get that feedback, it's very frustrating.
Well, when you say you don't get that feedback, you're getting zero feedback?
Well, like I am getting good feedback from producers who listen to it, and they said it's a great track. It's very professionally mixed and mastered. But it sounds great, but it's not really outstanding in terms of it's not unique. And then, actually also putting it out there and then not having an audience, because I don't really do much in terms of promoting it because I don't have enough time. Yeah. So it's like you're basically broadcasting into the outer world, but nothing comes back.
Yeah. I can understand that that's frustrating, but like, I want you to always revert back to that mindset of the thing you just talked about in making your music in a self-expression and like sharing that with the world. Like if that's the number one thing, that is the most important. And you did say like, this is the number one reason, like this is the only reason. So always like come back to that in your head. And I do think it is valid to say like, nobody is hearing it, nobody's listening, because if we didn't want anybody to hear our music, we could just sit in our bedrooms and never release it and never put anything out. But I think the audience in a way completes the work. The audience is truly like part of the equation. If I didn't care what anybody thought about my music, or I didn't care about people listening to my music, I would never release music. So I think that is for sure what you said is valid, because I think a lot of people, especially beginners, try to invalidate that and say it doesn't matter if people listen to your music. If that is your goal, it 100% matters if people listen and hear your music. So what I'll say, you've heard me talk about this and you even mentioned it, like audience building is so important. And there's a conflicting thing happening for you right now. That was a conflicting thing happening for me too at the outset. Like I hated making videos when I first started this YouTube channel. Absolutely hated making videos. Hated everything about video production. The thing, like there's this mindset, especially because I was a music major. So like there's this whole like dumb music major mindset that like, oh, I'm just a musician. That's all I have to do. I just want to be a musician. And frankly, like that's bullshit, because there's so many things you have to do to be a successful musician now and get people to hear your music. I mentioned this in an earlier call. Pretty much every second of every day, there is a song uploaded to Spotify. The only thing that's going to make you stand out is if you share with people who you are and you share your personality. Your music, like you said, if somebody says your music is like not outstanding, but it's like good, I think probably 90% of the music that I listen to is good and not necessarily outstanding, Like, so I think that's a weird sort of like check for you. Like your music doesn't have to be something nobody's ever heard before. It doesn't have to be this cutting edge production for it to connect with people. You think of how many songs there are with a voice and a guitar. That's not cutting edge. That's not like outstanding. It is what it is. It connects with certain people for certain reasons. And the way it connects with people is because for some reason, whether it's the lyrics, which we can't always communicate in electronic music if our music doesn't have lyrics, but it's like, who is the artist? What story are they telling? And you have to start telling your story. And I want you to get through that fight of like, oh, I don't want to make videos. I don't have time because I have a job. Because when I started this channel, I also had a full-time job that was at least 50 hours a week. And I commuted 1 hour each way into work. So like there was not a lot of hours in the day to make content. I was the same as you, nights and weekends, right? And the way I combated that sort of hatred of video production at first was I had an Android phone, a bad Android phone that I shot videos on, and an iPad that I edited on iMovie, because it was so easy to edit in iMovie, and I just wanted to do the basics. And that's how I started my channel. Like I just made this realization of like, okay, I have to do this. What is the easiest way to do this? And then I eased myself into it. And now suddenly I have this dumb production studio with a camera there and a camera there and like a wide camera, and I'm pushing all these buttons. It's like nobody taught me how to do this in music school. Nobody said that this was important for being a musician. And I'm not saying you need all this to be a musician. I'm just saying like it has served me so well to build a community, to share my story, to connect with people in this way. And even though I hated it at first, video production and sharing my music and stuff through video, sharing my story, telling my stories, has become a very enjoyable thing. Like I love doing it as much as I love making the music. So I know that it sounds like defeating, but for you, I would start embracing you as an artist and realize that how you feel is valid. Also that your story is valid and worth sharing. Your process and your techniques are valid and worth sharing and can actually contribute something. Not only contribute something to the community, but in doing so, you will build that audience that you're looking for. And it is a slow process, and there are other more practical things you can do, of course, that are like, can you get on compilations? Can you do some remix contests to get your name out there? I would be pursuing all of those options. As well. Could you approach labels? Because in the techno world, like labels are, I feel like, a lot more important. And you could, of course, pursue those options. But for me, and my philosophy was like, how can I sidestep all of that and just try to keep building content, connect with other creators, connect with a community that is into the same things that I'm into, and do it. And I know it seems like you don't have time and that it's a lot and maybe you don't feel like doing it. But at the end of the day, in your whole thesis statement for doing what you do, the audience is super important in that thesis statement.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's great advice. I did try to do remix contests, and over the years, I did approach a lot of labels, but it's very hard to break through the noise. And I'm sure they're getting a lot of demos. And a few labels actually reached out to me and they said, it's great. You have great productions, but it's just not for our label. So
that doesn't mean you stop. That doesn't mean you stop. You have to like your whole thesis statement is like that love. Like you use like the word love. I'm pretty sure. Like I love how this is like, that's me. If it doesn't matter if YouTube got deleted tomorrow, it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep making music, and I'm going to find a way to find an audience to hear that music. You just don't stop. Like this is part of our DNA. You have to have that mindset of like, this is part of your DNA, making music, who you are, what you do. There is no giving up. You might be a video producer during the day. That doesn't change, like, just because that's what you do during the day, that doesn't change your identity. And just because you're a music producer and like doing your thing on nights and weekends, that doesn't make it less than. Like you are a whole person with all of these skills and all of this stuff. Like don't let what you do for your day job define you. Don't let how you spend your time define you. You define you. And like, just because somebody says that's not for our label and you submitted 1,000, even if you submitted 1,000 submissions to remix contests, to labels, to whatever, and they were all no, well, it's time to submit another 1,000. You're going to get better every single day anyway. It doesn't even matter if you're resubmitting to the same places. It's just like place and time. Just keep going. You just can't stop. And if you have that mindset that like, this is who I am, this is my identity, this is in my DNA, then it's like not even an option to stop. It's not an option for me to wake up tomorrow with blonde eyebrows because I was born with black eyebrows. It's just like how it is. Like I was born and I do music and that's just how it is. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be a musician. That's just how it is. And when I skip the step of like, am I a musician? Is this really who I am? Am I really made to do this? I'm completely bypassing that thought process. I don't even think of it.
Yeah. Okay. Can I ask you a quick question? Last quick question.
Please. Yeah.
So I thought about also, because a lot of music producers, they start YouTube channels and that's how they become known for their productions. On the other hand, I saw a few podcasts, or I listened to a few podcasts where some music industry people, they were talking about there is a fine line between being a musician on YouTube and a musician as an artist. And they're saying sometimes you want to be careful what kind of audience you want to build, because let's say if you're known for music tutorials, then people are going to seek out your videos for music tutorials, not necessarily for your music. How do you make sure that people who come to view your videos, they also are interested in your music? Because sometimes I don't feel like teaching people how to produce, because there's already so many tutorials out there. You know what I mean?
Totally. Well, first of all, like, that's 100% true. I'm building an audience where I have tutorials as like a main part of my channel. Some people are just going to come to get information. That is just literally part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, because I'm happy with that. Because you know what happens at the end of the day? I got to pay my bills. I got to pay my rent. I got to pay my electricity. I got to pay my Comcast, my phone bill, whatever it is. I got to pay all my bills. If people come to my tutorials and I can make tutorials about my creative process all day, and that can pay some of those bills, I am more than happy to do it, because it means I'm not going to work a 9 to 5 doing something that I'm staring at the clock all day doing. I'm literally like an artist sharing my creative process. So that's my mindset on it. That being said as well, I am also like an artist that makes work and puts stuff out. At the end of the day, it's what we talked about before. I could just be another artist that just puts out music, and I would not have nearly the audience size that I have now, because I do that extra step of connection and providing value to the community. So having that be a reality, and of course a label executive would say that, right? Because a label, if any artist went and goes to get signed to a label, what does the label do? They pump thousands and millions of dollars into a marketing budget, and they do things beyond what an individual artist can do. Things that I myself as an individual independent artist am not capable of doing just from a financial standpoint. So of course somebody from a label would say that. However, if I truly do want to be an independent artist, just making it out here on my own, what other choice do I have than to build a big community around me, my artistic process, and my work, other than to just be open source and share it with everybody and build my audience that way? I could try to go to the store every single day and buy a lottery ticket and scratch it off and really hope that it pays my annual salary every year. But that's a losing battle. That's what people who only put out music are doing. You're literally just going to the store every time you release a track and buying a lottery ticket, because maybe somebody will hear that track. Maybe it'll get playlisted. Maybe it'll bring you attention. But we all know that 9 times out of 10, it's not that like lightning bolt moment where you hit the $1 million or you get placed on that Spotify playlist that gets you the 1 million plays, you know? So why would I go to the store every day and buy a lottery ticket when I could instead put the work in, share every part of my process, build a community that way? And if a majority of people are only here to view the process, that's fine. But what I know is that through doing this, I'm casting a hugely wide net. And if I cast that wide net, if every now and then I post like, hey, just dropped a new song on Spotify, or here's my latest track, or here's some merch that I just made, a percentage, not 100%, but a percentage of those people, that community that I've built, will come and support me. If I did not build that community, there would be 0% of those people, and I would just be playing the lottery every day. So like, to me, it's like, what other choice do I have? I just don't see it as an option. And I think a lot of artists have this fantasy like of the old music industry model. It's like, sure, home studio music producer, you could potentially get signed by a label, but what are the chances of that? And how many external forces are at play there? With me and my channel and my community, there are some external forces, aka the algorithm, at play, but a lot of it is in my control. A lot of it's in my output and me understanding the value that I'm provided, and me building a connection with the audience. It's on me. And at the end of the day, you know, like, I don't have a mansion. I don't have like what some of these big artists have that are signed to labels and have all that stuff. But like, at the end of the day, I'm a musician. I'm a video creator. I'm delving into being a visual artist. Like, I'm all those things. I'm just a creative, and being a creative literally not only allows me to pay my bills, allows me to save, and allows me to spend a little money on things that I love. And if that's not the ultimate goal in a capitalist society that we're in right now, then I don't know what else is the goal. I could just be mad about it and say my music deserves to be, heard by millions or whatever. But like, who cares? And who's to say that? And like, I'm doing what I'm doing. It's paying my bills. And a major label folks can say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, we're independent artists out there. I have no interest in relying on this dream of being a major label signed artist that's going to have that budget or anything, because that's like playing the lottery. So instead, I figured out how can I be an independent artist that makes a living doing what they love? And this is what I have figured out.
Thank you so much, TAETRO. You actually answered my question, because I was asking myself all the time, why am I so depressed? Why, when every time I want to, I need to sit down and produce a track. And that's exactly why, because in the end of the day, when I produce it and I finish it, I feel like, okay, subconsciously, I feel like I'm scratching a ticket of a lottery,
Right.
ticket, because I know that probably it's not going to go anywhere.
And that defeats your whole like music making process and mindset. Because as you're making the track, you're like, well, is anybody ever even going to hear this or whatever? Like,
exactly.
And you know what I really encourage you to do? Buy like a nice webcam or something. And like on the weekends when you're doing like an 8-hour studio session or however long you're making music for, just stream on Twitch. Just start streaming on Twitch like every Saturday. You don't even have to talk to the camera, nothing. Just a bird's eye view of you in your studio or whatever it may be, and just put it out there. And just do that like every single Saturday for like as long as you do it, every studio session. Just click go live and just do it. And what you'll see there is like people will start to show up and be like, oh, what's going on here? And you might start answering a few questions. You might seeing some people reoccur. And that is suddenly the beginning, this tiny beginning of what could be a big snowball of a community. And that's a way around like, oh, I don't want to make a tutorial because XYZ. Just capture your process. Just literally capture the process live and give people space to tune in and just try it.
Thank you. Thanks so much for inspiration. And I really appreciate your advice. Thank you so much, TAETRO.
Thanks for calling in. Really insightful call. I hope you do it again in the future. Thanks so much.
All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Yep. Really good call. Because it is hard to reconcile. Like, sure, a ton of people come here. I have 150,000 subscribers and there's 50 people watching this. Who cares? Everybody's having a good chat. At the end of the day, I'm looking around. People are being positive. People seem to be taking value from this. I can say that I think today I've had a positive impact on the community, so I can go to bed happy. My bills are paid. My fridge is full. What else can we ask for? Hey, Liar Music in the chat. Hello, Liar Music. You all need to go subscribe to Liar Music. They have lots of great tutorials. I just did the Modern Music Expo with them. It was a lot of fun. Totally check it out. Okay, we have to keep going. I'm going to unpin the comment because we are over an hour and I have a few more calls to get to. I've got Drummy, Gio, Sarah, and Derek. So I'm with peace and love, pausing the calls for now. Let me get Drummy Gio in here. Mouse working? I hope so. Okay. Drummy Gio in the studio nonetheless. Let me see if I can get the audio here. Just make sure in the bottom left. But yes, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate that. As Drummy Gio gets his mic situation situated, I will read some comments from chat. Never fear, Nascent is here, and Late AF, welcome. If you're tuning in late, feel free to go back to the beginning. This will also get posted later, of course. If you are watching this later, let me know. Drummy Gio can't hear me yet. Fixing the audio. But thank you, Michael G, for tuning in. Ayush, hello. Thank you for being here. Samuel Messiah says, just got the BandLab X TAETRO ad. That was a lot of fun. BandLab's been a great partner over the past couple months. So you can cater your content to a wider audience if you would like to, of course. Not going to lie, I don't really know or listen to TAETRO's music, but I come here for the other content because there's a bridge between what he's doing I'm going to put you back in the waiting room, Jummy Geo. Take another call. Seems like there's a struggle. Because there's a bridge between what he's doing and the music I want to make, so it helps. And you know what? At the end of the day, White Whisker Musica, even if you don't really know or listen to my music, you got that cool membership badge next to your name. So like, that's just another example of like, okay, anybody who becomes a member is like directly supporting me as an artist. So here we have a person who doesn't even really, is not super into my music, but takes value from my channel, that becomes a member and is inadvertently supporting me as an artist, you know, like that's the logic there. Income that I would not have otherwise if I did not provide value to the community. Let's get Sarah in here. But everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Jummy Geo, I know you're listening. Just get your audio situation all set up and we'll be back. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, first off, I want to tell you, I got my launch key 37.
Amazing.
I'm just struggling with every single time I'm hitting the keys. I've had someone else help me. Like I hit the keys and my computer's registering that I'm hitting the keys, but any single time I'm trying to like look through the settings and preferences on Ableton Light or Ableton Live Light, and it's just like no sounds coming through. So it's weird.
Do you have
but
an
we'll
instrument?
get there.
Do you have an instrument loaded on the MIDI? Exactly. Yes. So first step, get an instrument from the library and put it on a MIDI track, arm the MIDI track, and then you'll be able to hear it.
Okay. And then second off, I just want to say thank you coming from probably all your viewers or everyone who here is currently on the call, but like, thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy busy schedule and your day. And just, you're so patient and you're so understanding and so endless amount of knowledge that you provide, and you just free knowledge that you give to us, and just thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. Hey, this is part of my busy schedule. This is an important part of my schedule. So I enjoy this, and this is a part of doing what I do. I want to have some kind of positive impact. So I appreciate you saying that.
So, well, thank you.
That's it? No question or anything?
You kind of answered my confusing question with my launch key. Okay. I just got to figure it out.
Well, keep in touch, and I think you'll be able to figure it out. But if you can't, where the community is here to help, I think you'll be able to figure it out. A basic Ableton tutorial is what you need to just look at. You need to learn about loading an instrument, arming a track, and all that, and you'll be fine.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you for calling in. Wow, what a nice call. That is like a number one issue in Ableton Live. Like people go and they buy it and they hook up a thing and they're like, how do I load an instrument? Hello to everyone. TAETRO, change your neon skull to something music related. Skulls bring bad energy. I disagree. I think skulls bring good energy. I think skulls represent like our ancestors and our history. This is a quartz crystal skull. Kind of amplifies energies around it, you know. My niece drew this. So I'm actually kind of surrounded by skulls. I think it actually reminds us of our heritage, where we came from. Michael G, thank you for renewing your membership. You and Joseph are the only two with that crazy like Mars themed color scheme. So thank you for that. That's dope. By the way, reminder, I have 2 more calls to take, but we have the 343 sample challenge coming up. Nefertiti Gold, who is in the chat. Nefertiti and I will be critiquing the tracks live on stream next week for TAETRO Talks. And we are giving away a copy of the FL Studio license. So feel free to join us. And if you're not in the Discord, the 343 Labs Discord, you should join that as well so you can participate. And a lot of you are looking for feedback. So Justin Beck is giving feedback tomorrow on stream on the 343 Labs channel, youtube.com/343 Labs. So, yes. James Murley, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Skull energy and good vibes. Thank you. Thank you. Peace and love. There's somebody named Peace and Love in chat. Hello. Peace and love. Peace and love. Okay, we have a couple more calls. Drummy Geo, I'm going to give you another shot here. Let's do this. Hello, Drummy Geo. I can hear you now.
Let me mute the chat here.
Okay.
Okay, got to get rid of the stream. Well, good. Can we get through now?
I can hear you, but you're a little low. So if you can get closer to the mic or just turn your volume up a little bit, that would be great.
A little low. How's this?
That's better. Perfect.
All right, cool. Yeah, so sorry about the technical difficulties there. Just wanted to kind of, give a little bit of positivity to the situation with the haters and everything. I think you covered a lot of really great things already so far, and I agree wholeheartedly with that. My process is a little bit different than just being an electronic music producer, and with the technology we have nowadays. I love that you threw in MySpace there in those days. Basically, what it comes down to is doing it, like you said, for the right motive, with love, for your craft and for music. I started at an early age in sixth grade. I knew that I wanted to do music, and school wasn't so important to me, and people would frown upon that, and you get the discouragement from parents that, well, you can't succeed at that, and all that kind of stuff that you covered. And basically, I had it in my heart, that determination and that love for music, to push through that. And even, as a drummer, my journey was more focused on live performance, and my audience was, some friends that were there, behind the scenes. The production part of it, now that you are able to show live and everything, was all done behind the scenes in the studio. And nobody really got exposed to that. And what people would see is, the group of people that you perform in front of. So, that struggle as being, quote unquote, a starving artist for a while, and doing the whole work thing, and being able to just play music at night and weekends, like you said, it takes a while to do that, but if you have that determination to keep pushing, you can succeed against the odds. And, I just wanted to give some encouragement of my journey, being able to do that for years. And then, as difficult as it is to become a full-time musician and make income, a living off of that, like you said, to be able to just buy things that you love and to save a little and things like that. That's the dream, is to be able to do what you love and to make a living off of that. And I was able to do that, touring full-time for a while, and all that stuff. And like you say, that's ultimate bliss, if you want to say. Or basically, it depends on what your goals are. If you're shooting for fame and fortune, and that's your goals, you have a good chance of being let down, or when these doors shut in your face, to want to give up on things. And if you have that underlying love and passion for what you're doing, no matter what happens, then that's what's going to keep pushing you forward. And eventually that exposure will happen. You have to keep knocking on doors and keep getting yourself out there in whatever medium you have. And fortunately nowadays with technology, you're definitely able to be exposed to a whole lot more audience, and people to give feedback, even if it is negative in some respects, like you said.
Totally. And what you said about fame and fortune, if somebody's goal could be like, I want to be famous and I want to be rich. And, we all have our own 100 years on this planet. And if that's your goal, that's your goal. More power to you. There are 100 easier ways to get fame and fortune that are not being a musician,
Right.
like that. And say you do have music as a hobby, but you really do want to have extreme wealth, and you do want extreme fame. You could go get that in an easier way. And then after you've built that extreme wealth and that extreme fame, music becomes a part of it. You see that with every TikTok star,
Right.
Really nailing a platform like TikTok when it first comes out, like somebody like a Charlie D'Amelio or an Addison Rae, of course, or Dixie D'Amelio in particular. You have these people that amass a lot of fame, and, of course, with that comes wealth, and then release music. So that the fame in music and audience, the music comes last. And, you know, that's a path for some. Whether or not it's valid, it's not for me to decide. And whether or not, you know, it's your life and you have to live it how you want. And there are a million ways to do it. But we're all out here just trying to find ways to be creative and have our creative work pay for our lives. So it's good to hear your story and it's good to hear your path, because the other thing about music is, in any art, I think, is like we all have such different paths. Like you come from a world of live performance, and me, I've always been like kind of with a camera and, you know, with a MIDI keyboard, you know, like we all have these different paths, but I think it's kind of freeing to know like that we have all these paths and that there are a million different paths to sort of like, exactly, there's more opportunity. And I think that's one of the beautiful things. It can seem overwhelming, but if we're working towards financial independence for ourselves as artists and creatives, then, you know, like just know that there are a bunch of opportunities out there, and you don't have to be mega rich to have some financial independence. You know, for some people, having a YouTube channel could mean instead of working 40 hours a week at a 9 to 5, they could pull back and work part-time 20 hours a week, and the YouTube monetization actually brings in enough to supplement the other half. So like, it's not end all be all. It's like, it's a constant game of like, how much of your time can you buy back from your creative outlet?
Right. It's nice to be able to push other things, like, you know, whatever your creative interests are, like you're with your painting and everything. I think you're doing awesome, by the way.
Thanks.
With that, but you know, that's just another creative outlet that you can express yourself and expose to the world and have other people appreciate as well, and that can bring income. You know, so it's like there's so many opportunities out there nowadays that people shouldn't be discouraged by negativity.
Exactly. There's opportunities out there, and all the knowledge you need is literally out there for free.
That's right.
To build the skill.
Well, and thanks for what you do, man. This is awesome.
Thanks for calling in, Drummy Gio. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you always turning up for the content and supporting the channel.
Yeah, man. Good to talk to you.
Have a good one, my friend.
You too.
All right, chat. That's it for calls today. So thanks to everybody who did call in. I really appreciate it. We're gonna hang and chat for a little bit more. So if you want to hang and have a good time, cool. If you just came for the calls, whatever. I just want to check in with regular chat. I wonder, does my chat scene work still? I'm gonna push this button. I don't know what's gonna happen. Wow, it does work. Let's chat for a little bit. Is this screen helpful, or would you guys rather have just full screen? Tell me. Committing crimes can get you famous easy. Well, yeah, that's an extreme example of saying like, we want to achieve our goals, but we also want to live in an ethical, positive way that has a positive impact on society. So of course there are easy ways of achieving goals that are not super ethical and do not have a positive impact on society. The challenge in life is, how do we leave that positive impact? How do we live a virtuous life? And also achieve our goals. Nefertiti says, my parents are Caribbean. Any field outside of doctor, lawyer, engineer is unheard of, but here I am, folks. Do what makes you happy. Everyone else will come around. That's so true. Because it comes out of fear, right? Unsupportive family members. It comes out of fear. They want their child. First of all, sometimes it comes from ego. They want to be able to brag about their child doing X, Y, Z. And then it also comes from fear. They want their child to be independent and responsible and grow. And music can kind of be a scary pathway for a lot. So that's where it comes from. Sometimes, most of the time it comes from love. I think some of the time it comes from ego. But as you do build independence for yourself in a creative field, of course they come around, because that's what they feared in the first place. But you made it work. I was able to overcome trauma they went through and be successful. Yes, yes, yes. All right, I'm just scrolling back up through chat so I can catch up. All right, let's go back to the bottom. Yes, I hope you all enjoyed this. I do want to show, the thing about ego is so damn true. Bragging. Yeah, there's like there's like a difference between ego and confidence, right? Like you have to have the confidence in the first place to put stuff out. You have to have the confidence to say like, my work is valid and worth listening to. But that can't come from a place of ego. Like you can't say like, I'm the best beat maker in the world and everybody else sucks, you know? That's different than confidence. It's weird how other cultures' parents really pressure their kids to do stuff. I think that's in a lot of cultures. That's definitely an American culture. I know a lot of people that I went to like school with that are doing what they're doing, not because I think they love it, but I think because they have this expectation. There's always ego in art, though. I will say that for sure. I definitely have an ego. We all have egos. Peace and love. Peace and love. I feel the pressure from parents is a universal thing. Yeah, I agree. And in some ways not. In some way, like I have very supportive parents that allowed me to pursue music and embraced that. I told you I would show the paintings off. So if y'all want to see my paintings, now's the time. All right, so I guess I'll show full screen for this. It's like not really light enough, I feel. Okay, this was my day one painting. These were my first landscapes that I did. I worked on 3 at a time because I'm like impatient. Sometimes you have to wait for it to dry. This was like day one. I'm not going to show every single painting. This was just an experiment. This was like one of the second days of painting. This was day 3. This is day 1. I want to try waves. I'm still really struggling with things that have detail like this, like power lines. I'm really getting better at this gradient. This is really hard to do. This is now a painting stream, by the way. This was just trash. This I did from a photograph. I'm happy with how the sky gradient came out, but again, anything with detail I'm struggling with. So this is buildings out my window. I really like doing the koi fish. Didn't love how this one came out. It's supposed to be blurry and rainy down here, but I think these lines are too thick. That's rosé, and the sketch came out a lot, like the initial pencil sketch came out way better than the painting, because I wanted to try skin. I wanted to try a person for the first time, but then it's like this combination of using like black ink and then pencil, but the sketch looked so much better than that. That's just like a face study. Waves, I really enjoyed doing this one. I think the one on the right is a bit better because there's less white, and I figured out this kind of smudging technique that made it look better. There's obviously more white on this side. More power lines because I wanted to try to get better. Neither of them came out very good, but I liked doing the sky, and I learned a lot about doing trees in that one. The moon is probably still my favorite. Really liked doing this one. It's kind of a similar technique to the sky in terms of like doing gradients and stuff. The trees, Misty Forest. This one is a lot better than this one. I work on kind of 2 at a time. Well, I already said that. This one, I made a lot of mistakes, and I ended up having to make this tree in the front a lot bigger. It should be taller, I think. This was just a landscape. I kind of rushed this. I rushed that one for sure as well. And then I had to just take a break because I was getting frustrated and I was rushing things. You know, we had company over at the place. So regardless, and then this was the latest one. This is like me coming back from a break and wanting to try something a little bit ambitious. So it's the Northern Lights in the wintry scene. I had a good time. Again, anything with trees I love. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Those are my paintings. I post them a lot on Instagram and stuff. I just figured I'd just show it here at the end because anybody who's stuck around this long is kind of chilling. For the detail, maybe consider trying mixed media. Micron pens work really well with watercolor. I will try that. Thank you, Opal Rider. I just have a couple small pens right now. But I know nothing about visual art and face structure or anything like that. So starting with all these landscapes and that kind of detail. So hopefully I'll be able to do people in the future. Probably not for another 6 months or a year though. That's what I'm doing. But what I can say is learning painting, I've learned so much from doing this channel and learning how to teach and consuming knowledge, learning how people consume knowledge. It helps me learn how to consume the knowledge of like painting. I talked about this on another stream. Or did I talk? I don't know when I talked about this, but like a 10-minute painting tutorial takes me roughly 2 to 3 hours to get through. So if you expand that out to music production, a 10-minute music production stream or a tutorial might take you 2 hours to get through, and that's okay. And you might revisit it and you might try it again. All those things. Jacob Marino. Yes, you joined at the end, but thank you for joining nonetheless. Thank you all for being here. Blue Sunset, I saw you asked if I have a Twitch. I do have a Twitch, but I don't really use it. Maybe I will in the future. The pinned comment at the top of the chat, by the way, is for the 343 Labs Discord. I encourage you all to join that. It's a community of producers from around the world, just like this one. We do different things over there, like sample challenges and feedback. We have our sample challenge coming up next week. So if you want to participate and potentially win a FL Studio license, join the Discord, hop in, and you'll find the sample that you need to flip. It's actually a sample from my sample pack. And that will, you'll be a part of the community and you'll get your track played. Also, Justin Beck tomorrow on the 343 Labs channel is giving feedback. So all of you who need feedback on a track, definitely recommend you join that Discord and drop a track into that channel. We're coming to the end here today, folks. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications on, because I have a stream coming up on Thursday where I will, it'll be a sponsored stream actually, so stay tuned for that. I've got the music theory video I finished shooting. That is either going to come out on Friday or Monday. I haven't decided yet. So I know a lot of people have been asking for the next installment of that. It's a good one. It's all about chords and building chord progressions. It's basically the secret formula about chords. Thank you for that comment. Peace and love. I appreciate it. Hi, Stan. Nice to see you. Oh, yeah, you can't watch a tutorial once. Yeah, you have to watch tutorials over and over again. And I know just from how people watch my tutorials, they are watching the tutorial once and they're not even paying close enough attention for that one time to take the lesson from it, because they ask a question that gets answered in the tutorial. So just be aware of that. You should be watching tutorials multiple times if it doesn't click the first time. Most of the time, it does not click the first time. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Please, the links, every link that you need is in the description. If you want to pick up a sample pack, that helps support me. If you want to pick up a Control Freak Club t-shirt, that supports me. If you want to turn on notifications and subscribe, that supports me. If you want to go listen to a track on Spotify, that would support me. The number one thing you can do to support, though, is becoming a channel member. The join button is down below. So if you took value from today's stream, or you take value from the channel and you want to show your support, get a cool badge next to your name. And also, at the lowest tier, you can join the Discord. At the middle tier, you can get a free sample pack. Consider hitting the join button. If you click the join button below the video, it shows you all the tiers, the rewards for each tier. So thank you all. Again, today was about dealing with negativity and haters, but we can all thrive as our community with positivity. A rising tide raises all boats. Other people's successes are not our failures. Just keep putting positivity out into the world. Hello, Max Wild. Goodbye, Max Wild, because this is the end of the stream. So thanks everybody for being here. That was fun. Good call-in show once again. Next week, we will be doing the sample challenge. Sample challenge. So if you haven't entered yet, the Discord link is at the top. So please participate. Get your track played on stream. All that good stuff. And then we will have a guest the week after that. So this is the last call-in stream for a little while, but probably towards the end of August or early September, we'll have another one. So I'm glad you could all make it. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. I'm going to go enjoy life in the cabin, work on some new videos, work on some new music. That's it. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. YouTube.com/343labs to join in on the fun over there. But that's it. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.